Harvey's just got a love letter from a Hollywood actor. On Hot Ones, the show where guests answer questions while eating painfully spicy wings, Toronto's own Will Arnett stopped mid-interview to rave about the Big Harv. He called it the Cadillac of cheeseburgers, the char on the beef, the sliced pickles, the whole build. And Harvey's chief operating officer, Michael Nault, went out of his way to thank him in public. Stop and think about how strange that is. A movie star with nothing to gain defending a small Canadian burger chain in front of the entire world. That just does not happen to fast food. Big chains pay millions for a moment like that. Harvey's got it for free because somebody who grew up on it could not help bragging. And it was not a one-off. Here is the real headline. This is a chain with about 290 restaurants. It is surrounded by American giants that run tens of thousands. And it has lasted more than 60 years by doing almost the opposite of what those giants do. It never grew the way it was supposed to. It never crossed into the United States, the biggest, richest fast food market on the planet, sitting right there across the border. The American game is simple. Open everywhere, make every burger identical, save a second at every step. Harvey's did the opposite, and it is still here. So how does one small Canadian burger joint hold off the biggest chains on earth while flat out refusing to leave home? For that, you have to go back to 1959. First, understand this is not some hidden gem nobody knows. Harvey's is so baked into the country that American TV writers use it as shorthand for Canadian. On How I Met Your Mother, the show's Canadian character, Robin, brags about a guy who actually collected the orange Harvey's trays. When her American friends just stare back, she blurts out the old slogan, Harvey's, over 12,000 served. That joke only lands because every Canadian gets it instantly. And it is the orange trays she names, not the food, because the trays are the memory. It is the burger you stop for on a long drive somewhere past the last big town when nothing else is open and you're running on fumes. And here is what makes Harvey's stand out even more today. Think about Tim Hortons. For decades, it was the most Canadian thing going. Then, in 2014, it merged with Burger King into a giant global company called Restaurant Brands International, and plenty of people will tell you it has not felt the same since. Harvey's never made that move. It never sold the idea of being Canadian to a boardroom on the other side of the world. So the real question was never whether Canadians know Harvey's. It is how staying small and staying home kept paying off for 65 years. Fast food was blowing up all over North America, and two guys wanted in. George Sikornik and Rick Moran, equal partners. They kicked names around for a while. The early favorite was Humphreys. Moran liked how friendly it sounded, borrowed from an American chain of the day called Henry's Hamburgers, which has basically vanished now, down to a single location. But the name they actually used came down to being cheap. Moran was flipping through the Toronto Telegram when he saw that a car dealership, John Harvey Motors, was closing and selling everything off. One of the leftovers was a big lit sign that just said Harvey's. A brand new sign would have cost a fortune. A used one cost almost nothing. So he bought it on the spot, dropped the Humphreys idea, and hung that sign over the door. It is the perfect start for a company that would spend the next 60 years being smart with a dollar instead of throwing money around. Remember that habit. It comes back again and again. They signed for the land on April 1st, 1959, 10 acres at Yonge Street and Observatory Lane in Richmond Hill. And here is the catch. They bought it from a Dairy Queen that had just gone broke on that exact spot. The place had a reputation for dying every winter, so the two of them signed, fully expecting to close the doors cold each year just to stop the bleeding. It never happened. People showed up in numbers nobody saw coming, and the restaurant made money straight through the snow, all 12 months. Before it had really started, Harvey's had already broken the one rule everybody said it could not. And here is a small, sad footnote. That original Richmond Hill location is gone now. They tore it down in 2012 to put up condos, which might be the most Canadian ending a story can have. None of this was luck. The founders brought 3 specific ideas to the Canadian drive-in, and each one fixed a real problem. The first was about money. Back then, staff skimming the till was just part of the business. Cash went missing every shift, and the owner ate the loss. So Harvey's made you order and pay up front, take a receipt, and carry it down the line. The cash went into the register before a single burger hit the grill. Simple, but it locked the money down, kept it away from the chaos at the cooking line, and quietly fixed one of the most expensive problems a drive-in had. The second idea became the whole personality of the place. After you paid, you walked your receipt down the counter right beside your own burger, and you told the worker exactly what to put on it. Extra pickles, hold the onions, more of that sauce. You were in charge of getting it right. That sounds small. It was not. Every giant, McDonald's and Burger King included, is built on doing it the same way every single time so they can shave seconds and keep the line moving. Harvey's did the opposite on purpose. It slowed the whole thing down at the toppings counter and handed you the wheel. No big chain wants to do that. They treat the customer as a problem to design around. Harvey's treated you like the one person who actually knows how you want your burger. On paper, it cost them speed. In real life, it bought them something the giants could never buy with advertising: people who genuinely cared. The third idea was the fries. While everyone else dumped thin, frozen fries from who knows where into the oil, Harvey's brought in fresh potatoes from Prince Edward Island and made every store wash them, cut them, and fry them right there, skin on. Thick and real. People lined up for them. And here is the first small betrayal in the story. About 10 years later, new management quietly killed that. They swapped the fresh island potatoes for cheaper frozen ones to save money. Nobody announced it. It just got a little worse, the way these things always do. Ask anyone old enough to remember the original fries, and they will tell you it was never quite the same. But in 1959, those fries told you everything about who this company was. For the build-your-own system to work, the menu had to stay simple. You picked a base, a beef patty, a veggie burger, or a chicken wrap, plus the hot stuff like cheese or bacon. Everything else happened at the glass. The counter ran in order to keep the line moving. Veggies first, lettuce, onion, tomato, and those famous pickles. Then the bolder stuff, olives, cucumber, jalapeno. Then the sauces, chipotle, ghost pepper, and the secret house sauce people still swear by. It turned a boring fast food order into a little ritual. For about 30 seconds, you were not a customer. You were the one building the thing. Harvey's leaned so far into that idea that it claims it was the first chain in the country to let you swap items inside a combo back in 1998. Custom was the entire point. And that is the trick almost no cheap chain ever pulls off. Loyalty that gets passed down in families. People still argue online about the perfect Harvey's order. Old staff still tell stories about the prep, hauling crates of pickles and tomatoes through the slicer in the back just to survive the lunch rush. Regulars still ask for a pile of extra pickles on the side just to make a little salad on the tray. The company even invented a fix for people who could not decide, a side called frings, half fries and half onion rings in one box. And for years, it just gave the burger away, running a free burger day every spring that grew into a full free burger week, a thank you that turned into a tradition. There is even one downtown Toronto location locals have given an, let us say, unprintable nickname. And if you know, you know. The point is the same. By giving people exactly what they asked for, Harvey's trained whole generations of Canadians to expect it their way. And once you've built your burger your way for 20 years, the identical chain across the street has nothing for you. The money story actually starts before the first burger. 5 years earlier, in 1954, Rick Morin had already opened a sit-down rotisserie chicken spot in Toronto called Swiss Chalet. He grew up in the business. His father ran a barbecue place in Montreal. So when he jumped into burgers with Sukornik, he already knew how a Canadian restaurant was supposed to feel, and he was not guessing. In the early 1970s, the burger company got folded into a parent called Food Corp, run by a president named Bernie Siren, and it grew to about 80 restaurants. Then, in 1979, a big company called Cara Operations bought the whole thing, Harvey's and Swiss Chalet together. You have probably eaten from Cara without ever knowing the name. It later became Recipe Unlimited, and it kept buying up familiar Canadian brands, from Kelsey's and Montana's to the Quebec chicken giant St. Hubert. In the early 90s, some Harvey's locations sold Church's chicken right next to the burgers. When that ended, they put in Swiss Chalet express counters instead, which made sense since the two were now family. That is how you ended up able to order a charbroiled burger and a side of Swiss Chalet sauce in one stop. Some regulars started putting that chalet sauce on their poutine instead of gravy, a little hack that only works in Canada. But all that money could not protect the actual burger, because the American giants kept pushing across the border, and Harvey's had to keep fighting back. So it kept rebuilding its flagship. The Super Burger showed up in 1989 at a third of a pound. The steakier Ultra Burger took over in 1996. Then came the Big Harv in the early 2000s. The Great Canadian in 2010, and finally, the Angus line, which has been the main event since 2014. The Big Harv was loved enough that they brought it back years later by demand. Every one of these was a shot back at the American menus, proof the Canadian burger could go punch for punch. But running more restaurants means more can go wrong. In October 2008, it went very wrong. A Harvey's in North Bay, Ontario had an E. coli outbreak traced to contaminated onions and a dicer that was not being cleaned properly. About 235 people got sick. 26 ended up in hospital. One child developed a serious kidney complication. Nobody died, thankfully, but it led to a class action, and a settlement, finally approved in 2014, paid victims anywhere from $1,000 up to $7,250, depending on how badly they were hit. A crisis like that has ended smaller chains for good. Harvey's tore its safety system apart, rebuilt it from scratch, and survived. And the reason it survived is the whole point of this video. What saved Harvey's was something the big chains could not buy: customers who treated it like an institution, not just a drive-through. That loyalty gave it time to recover. As the country started eating healthier, Harvey's rolled out a health check menu in late 2012. Lighter picks like the veggie burger, the grilled chicken sandwich, the Lil Original, and a chicken salad, all built from an approved list of toppings. At the same time, the beef fight heated back up. McDonald's had brought Angus burgers to Canada in 2008, so in 2014, Harvey's hit back with its own Angus line, and it made a promise it could wave like a flag. Every one of those patties would be 100% Canadian beef. For this crowd, that was not just sourcing, it was a statement. On the other end of the menu, it went all the way into comfort food with a full poutine lineup, from the classic fries, curds, and gravy up to loaded bowls with bacon, buffalo chicken, and jalapeno. For all its strength in Ontario and Quebec, none of it traveled west. The further Harvey's reached toward the coast, the weaker its grip got, and British Columbia beat it outright. The coast already had its own beloved chains, like White Spot and its fast food arm, Triple O's, places with decades of loyalty sitting in exactly the spot Harvey's wanted. Add in Vancouver's brutal rent, and big standalone restaurants just did not add up. The ones that hung on got shrunk down to tiny Home Depot stands rather than real restaurants, which is its own quiet way of admitting defeat. Here is the proof of how that fight ended. Today, British Columbia is the only province in the country where you cannot find a Harvey's. For a brand that wears the flag this hard, losing a whole province stings, but it also says something true. This kind of loyalty does not transfer. You either grew up with it or you did not. But the parent company was not giving up the whole West. It moved over to Alberta and changed the game. Instead of paying for expensive new land, it took the Swiss Chalet restaurants it already owned around Calgary and rebuilt them into combined Harvey's and Swiss Chalet stores. Almost overnight, it doubled its Calgary count without buying a single new lot, then ran the same trick in Red Deer and Edmonton. It was the exact same instinct as buying that used dealership sign back in 1959. Never pay full price when you can be clever instead. Rebuilding out west meant using the one thing the giants can never copy: being actually Canadian. Because Harvey's never crossed into the States, it could go all in on being Canadian without worrying about offending anyone abroad. It even runs ads now that just call the burger a Canadian thing. That is not a slogan to this audience. It is the whole point. And here is the part worth sitting with. That loyalty you feel, the one that makes you defend a fast food burger to a stranger, is not just nostalgia. It is the moat. It is the actual reason the company is still alive. Your memory is their business plan. It paid off again in 2024 when Harvey's turned 65 and ran a countrywide burger hunt, hiding 1,663 burger cards near its restaurants in Canadian landmarks, with clues dropped on social media. Most got you a free lunch. 4 were golden, VIP cards, good for free Harveys for a whole year. So what is next? Something bold. Harvey says it wants 500 locations in the next 5 to 10 years, a big jump from the roughly 290 it has now. To get there, it is chasing busy spots in Toronto and Montreal and squeezing into places like gas stations, malls, and college campuses. It is testing self-serve ordering screens inside the restaurants, and it keeps watching social media for its next idea. That's where the pickle poutine came from. A fan hack it turned into a real menu item and later brought back with triple the pickle. 65 years in, it is still doing the same thing it did at that toppings counter in 1959, listening to what you want and handing it right back. But here is the part that should make a Harvey's fan a little nervous. The whole brand was built on that slow, human moment at the glass, and self-serve screens exist to erase exactly that. Push hard enough for 500 stores and you have to wonder whether the thing that made Harvey's special can survive the thing it needs to grow. The giants already learned how to be fast. Harvey's only ever won by being personal. You cannot fully automate that and still keep it. In the end, Harvey's is still standing for one simple reason. It stayed Canadian, and it bet everything on the Canadian customer. It said no to going global, and it built its whole story on one idea most chains would never trust: hand people the controls and let them build it themselves. The giants took over the world by making every store a copy. Harvey's held an entire country by refusing to. So now I want to hear from you. Is Harvey's still the best burger in the country? Or have the American chains finally won you over? Big Harv or the Angus? And the one that really matters, when you step up to that glass, what is the topping you always get and the one you would defend to the death? Drop it below. I read them. There is another Canadian brand coming up that is going to sting a lot more than this one. Until then, stay sharp.